Welcome to Revolutionary Motion, where we show you tennis from a different perspective. Today we're going to talk about the slice serve. More specifically, how to hit or produce a slice serve. So there's a couple of things that are very important to create that slice serve. First, let's define what the slice serve is. So a slice serve is a serve that after the bounce curves towards the left. If you hit enough slice on the ball, it will already start curving towards the left during the trajectory of the ball before it bounces. Obviously, if you're a left-handed player, it would curve towards the right. Now, what is that slice serve used for? It's used to push your opponent off the court mostly because you have a better angle, because the ball will, from the deuce side especially, curve away from the opponent, towards the neighboring court. Now, one more characteristic of the slice serve is that it doesn't bounce very high if you hit it right. So that means now your opponent cannot hit down on the ball, but they have to kind of lift it over the net, despite the fact that they're so far off the court, which makes it very difficult for them to hit any shot that really benefits them and gets them in a better or offensive position. Now, how do we produce that slice serve? There's a couple things. Number one is you want to make sure, especially for the beginning, that your toss is a little bit further towards your right. It's not at 12 a.m. or p.m. It's going to be more at like 1 or 2 p.m. just to make sure that you can get that slice done correctly, because the motion that is required for the slice serve is a very horizontal rotation of your upper body that curves the racket around the ball rather than trying to hit it head on from the back or on a kick serve touching it from the left side. So you're trying to touch the ball on the right side, slicing past the ball on the right side, curving your racket around it. That is very important. Now, the contact point in general on a slice serve usually tends to be a bit lower than on a regular flat serve, because you want to make sure that you can really use that horizontal rotation, which brings your racket around the ball, rather than having to reach up for the contact point, because there you won't be able to give the ball as much horizontal rotation that turns the ball this way and makes it fly in that specific slice serve curve. So if we're putting that all together, it would look something like this. Toss it over to the right and try to slice past the ball on the side. Now we'll give you an example of how that looks in a faster serve. And here you can clearly see the toss being further over to the right and that clear curve of the ball towards the left even before the ball bounces, but it intensifies even more when the ball bounces on the ground. Now, one thing you really have to pay attention to is the amount of power you put into your slice serves. Because obviously the harder you hit the ball, the less that slice, the rotation of the ball, will have an effect on the trajectory of it. So if you hit the ball really, really hard, your slice serves will not curve as much as if you hit it a bit softer, meaning less forward motion and a little bit more slice motion, meaning just scratching the ball. So if you see this real quick, if I hit the ball very soft, but I try to give it a lot of slice, you will see a lot more curving. Okay? So this is really, really important that you keep that in mind, because both of those serves, a harder slice serve and a softer slice serve, can have their applications, but it really depends on what you're trying to do with it. Are you trying to push it just slightly off the court and get your opponent in trouble with the pace of the ball plus a little bit of curve, or you're just trying to, get your opponent far off the court, but you don't really care about how hard you hit that shot?
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.